Hej! Swedish Terapeut här igen. Vi ska titta lite bättre om det. Det kommer från ägg. Och det är andra hud för äggen. Så vi pratar om interoception, men hur mår du? Interoception är hur kroppen känner inuti kroppen, insidan. Så det är informationen kommer ut från magen, du är hungrig. När du måste ta in vatten, du är törstig. Kanske smärta också, om du känner smärta. Det kommer, vi pratar om mer bindvävs ansvar till hur vi känner. Så vi har forskare runt hela världen att prata med det. The NIH, the National Center for Complementary Integrative Health and Medicine, de pratar mycket om interoception. Och jag har en liten länk att skicka det till dig så du kan titta mer om du vill. Så här, det är så jättekul. Och det ser ut liksom en ägg. Och när det är torr, det kan sönder eller bryter, har brutit eller tear på engelska. Men om jag gör det, så nu vi ska låta ägg bli lite mer uttorkad så du kan se det efter. Ja. Okay. So let's go a little bit closer. So now that we're a little bit closer, maybe you can see some of the structure. It's very delicate, translucent, but all these fibers have wound together and formed a thin membrane. And that membrane protected the egg, the fluid around the yolk, the vätska, and the yolk itself, which could become a little chick. And in our bodies, our embryo becomes a human. So the fetus turns into a baby, turns into a young person. And this hina is wet and full of nutrients and narings and information. You can see from my finger and how those little lines, we don't think that we have fingerprints necessarily because we don't look at our fingers so often, but look how deep those lines are, and they're very unique to me and only me. And I think when we talk about the bindväv, we should talk about its uniqueness and how medicine can be more personalized. That's my opinion. So when it comes to chicken, I gotta put something over the keyboard, but when it comes to uncooked chicken, this is very, very hard, difficult to separate. So the outer skin really likes to be part of the second skin. This is almost impossible to pull apart without a tool. And now that I've pulled it apart, now you can see that there's space in between, but only when I create the space. Otherwise, they were one unit. Let's see. So you can see that hole that I've made right there. Yeah, that's the hole that I made. And now I can pull one layer from the other layer. It's not really a layer. As many people, Julian Baker and Gil Hedley and many others that have been talking about this for a long time, that's a layer that's created by an anatomist. And then there's an artist that renders a picture. And the goal for all anatomists were to see the pretty organs and the muscles that were underneath, and to never talk about these small little layers that are in between and separating and protecting. Yeah. And still, 2 hands and a camera, and I'm still having troubles showing you what I want to show you and how those are so intertwined. It is very, very difficult to separate them. I think I've done the job that I'm wanting to show you. They're just almost impossible to separate. That's in a fresh chicken, fresh. But if I take something like this, now this has been cooked, and the same thing happens for human cadavers that have been in formaldehyde. Basically, that's like a cooking process when things are fixed. Now I can separate those and I can see the muscle layers without any problem. I have no problem pulling this apart because it's been cooked. And if you look really closely, you can see on that hud, utliggande hud, there's just a little bit of tissue, thin, thin tissue. But I'm able to separate these so easily. And that's what we're talking about. And that's why in 2020, we are discussing the idea of bindväv as being important. Whereas we weren't doing that before because the technologies weren't there for us to see how thin and transparent a membrane is and how important it is. We wanted to see these juicy bits of muscle and get down to the meat and the organs and see how bodies worked. In the process, we tore apart the very thing that was keeping us together, the bindväv. It's very difficult to separate these. And once they are separated, then we're going to have problems with it leaking. And when we have a skoda, an injury, repairing is its main goal. But once it repairs, how is that bindväv put together again? Is it thicker? Is it stronger? Or is it more brittle and rigid, not allowing the same amount of movement? So that's my tidbit of today for bindväv. I'm not sure what you think of it. It's okay, whatever you think. But if you're interested in bindväv, send this to your doctor, lake it in, send it to somebody who you think will do something with it. And let's keep our bindväv healthy. Vår egen vård är så viktig. Yeah, skicklig. That's this bindväv. Nice. So we'll see what it's like once it's dried and see how brittle it is. Hey, doll. My hands are all chicken.